Automotive enthusiasts are some of the most opinionated people on Earth. But in general, most of them agree that Porsche makes some of the most enjoyable cars to drive. Everyone from Jay Leno to Jay-Z has praised the German brand for being consistently tasteful and extraordinarily fun behind the wheel. Porsche has such panache that it's easy to assume they've been a rock-solid luxury import since the beginning. They're owned by Volkswagen. They have a stellar racing resume, and they're one of the most respected brands by aficionados and casual drivers alike. But it wasn't always that way. Did you know that Porsche has been on the brink of bankruptcy not once, but 3 times since they began production? What if I told you that the iconic 911 didn't rescue the company's bottom line, but was actually saved by one of their less famous models? How in tarnation did Porsche handle these financial disasters to not only bounce back, but also revolutionize the luxury auto industry? Today on Past Gas, the story of how Porsche has gone from penthouse to outhouse and back again, while creating some incredible vehicles along the way.
Past Gas Podcast. It's about cars, it's not about Fords.
Big thank you to Philo for sponsoring this episode. Philo is live and on-demand TV for just $25 a month. Sign up today at philo.tv. That's philo.tv and use promo code GAS to get 50% off your first month. Thank you, Philo. Big thank you to our sponsor this week, Valvoline. Valvoline provides 24 times stronger protection against engine-killing water contamination than the industry-leading synthetic brand. Go get some Valvoline for your car today. Next time you do an oil change, get Valvoline. Thank you, Valvoline.
Big thanks to Vincero Watches for sponsoring this episode of Past Gas. Other premium handcrafted watches don't fit the everyday person's budget. You can finally own a high quality and lasting timepiece without going broke. Don't wait or it'll be too late. Get 20% off plus free shipping site-wide with our exclusive link, www.vincerocollective.com/gas. Support our show and check them out at vincerocollective.com/gas. Look good, feel good, and save big this holiday season with Vincero.
It's pronounced Porsche.
Porsche. You know, guys, I'm moving. Nolan's going to help me move tomorrow morning.
I am.
It is very hard to find a penthouse in Los Angeles that also has an outhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from Kentucky, and like I'm like doing pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a video game now.
But you're used to outhouses.
And I love an outhouse, and I haven't had an outhouse since I moved to California. I'm like, this is the time. I'm finally going to get a place with an outhouse. And it was so hard to find, but I did.
Nice.
So you got a shovel.
Yeah.
And you have an elevator that goes straight to your door, so you take it down.
Goes to the front door, and then you do have to walk like 75 yards to the outhouse.
Because it's not the same experience if you're not freezing.
Right.
So I got my long johns on.
Yeah.
I unbuttoned the back.
The little
And
hatch.
you're waddling towards it, 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
carrying a candle and a little holder thing.
Then I put it all in a hole and I burn it.
There you go.
Pour some kerosene on it and burn it.
So my great grandma's from Sicily, and we grew up speaking like random Italian words.
Mm-hmm.
And
Bellissimo.
my whole life, we thought that Bacauzu was bathroom in Italian, or at least like the Sicilian dialect. And it wasn't until like maybe 15 years ago that we found out she was just mispronouncing backhouse.
Baghouse.
Yeah, Bacauzu.
That's great.
It's like when you put stuff into like Google, like read to text.
Yeah.
Voice to text, and like you can choose the accent.
Yeah.
Baghouse.
Take the exit at La Cienega.
Yeah, it's like almost problematic when they say La Cienega.
Sepulveda.
Yeah, that's classic.
These are all Los Angeles specific Google Maps.
Yeah.
Because we only talk about traffic and how to get around here.
It's true. It's true. Welcome back to Past Gas, everybody. Exciting day here at the Donut office. We're recording this on November 10th, which is when the Donut Media story on Forza Horizon 5 went live. I'm overwhelmed. Really.
Dude, it's so surreal. I got a little emotional twice like yesterday, the day before. Like Nolan and I are in a video game. Our faces and versions of our bodies are in them. We were given I was, and I spoke on the guy's behalf. We were given the choice between the quote normal body or the quote chubby body.
Yeah.
And I chose the normal one. Because they were like, some of the clothes won't fit the chubby one. I was like, well, I was already going to pick the normal one. So we are a little skinnier than we are in real life. Don't be surprised if you meet us in person and we're a little beefier. But
we know. We know. Okay?
I don't regret my decision at all. I'd rather shrink into my Forza self instead of grow into my real life self.
It didn't really hit me until like this morning when people were kind of tagging us in Instagram stories, and it's just overwhelming. I don't know. I have a hard time with stuff like this. You know?
Because we are so focused on like moving forward with stuff, it is sort of hard to be proud of yourself. But I think we should take time, Nolan, and Joe, and be proud of ourselves, but also thank all you guys for supporting us.
Absolutely.
It's cool that this is our job, and it's, like, I can't believe we have such an amazing audience that allows us to do truly mind-blowing things that I never thought would be possible. So thank you guys for all your support, and cool. We'll just keep trying to do new and awesome stuff for you.
And it's cool for me because I am in the video game as well, but I had to make my own character.
So we can hang out.
Yeah, but the good news is I'm the main character.
Yeah. Like you're the cool friend. So if we're like out of town or something, like over Christmas break, say you're home and you're like, man, I really miss Nolan and James. Yeah, you as Joe, can go do a mission.
Oh,
with
James
us
is giving me a mission, just like he does at work.
That's what I call tasks. It makes it more fun around the office. Hey man, I got a mission for you. Can you write a script on?
Well, James gave me 3 gold stars on my script this week.
Awesome. Well, speaking of scripts, let's get into this one.
Let's do it. Let's talk about Porsche.
Oh, I'm James Pumphrey. Also, that other voice you hear is Joe Weber, and the guy from the intro is Nolan Sykes.
Yes, thank you very much. Big thank you to our returning listeners, and if this is your first time, welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome to the show. We're in a video game.
Take your shoes off. Get a bowl of ice cream.
Yeah. Get cozy or drive to work. Whatever you're doing, do it. All right. As we all know, the mid-1960s were a wild time. The Vietnam War was in full swing. The Beatles were making music history.
Ooh.
And consumer advocate Ralph Nader released his book, Unsafe at Any Speed. Okay, so maybe you haven't heard of Nader's book.
If you've listened to anything or watched anything on our channel, you've probably
heard of it, yeah. But when it came to the auto industry in 1965, this book was a very big deal. Most of Unsafe at Any Speed focused on issues ranging from miserable crash protection to the alarming number of drivers being impaled by steering wheels. Ugh. But the book also took an especially harsh view of the rear-engine sports car. Why attack these cute little speedsters, you ask? Well, simply put, the Chevrolet Corvair had essentially become an unguided missile on the road, crashing and killing Americans in the early 1960s at a startling rate. Nader's research pointed to the Corvair's rear-engine design as the primary reason for the carnage, which led executives across the auto industry to fear that the layout could be altogether banned in the coming years. That's something we don't really think about often, is like an engine layout being banned.
Yeah, but we talked about this before. We've had episodes of Wheelhouse or whatever. It wasn't necessarily just the placement of the engine. It was the suspension, the rear suspension.
Yes.
That made it kind of wily.
Yeah. So what the engineers did, because the rear suspension geometry itself was not super stable, I think it was particularly under, like, if you let off the gas, like a Porsche in a turn, the rear end had a tendency to step out and spin out and kill you. But what they did to compensate for that was let air out of the tires. Ugh. And that would make an adjustment to like the rebound and what have you.
Yeah.
But if you didn't know that and didn't stick to like your owner's manual and just pumped up to the tires to like whatever you thought fit, like whatever was on the tire, that stiffened the rear end and thus made it twitchier and more likely to kill you.
We did go-karting yesterday, and they actually let the air out of the tires a little bit. Did
Really?
you not hear that?
No.
Oh, someone asked it as a joke, like, what's the PSI on the tires? And the guy was like, well, actually 34 and 32, whatever. And he was saying that people were getting much better times by letting out 4 or 5 PSI.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't have been skittering all over the place and understeering like a madman on those
Yeah,
things.
that was a lot of understeer.
Dang, dude, I wish we asked earlier. Anyway.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about this for longer.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Anyway, one company that was really sweating after Nader's book was Porsche. They released their flagship model, the 911, only a year before. And while their rear-engine coupe was an immediate hit at the racetrack and with consumers, if the laws changed in the U.S., their most important market, they would be in dire financial straits.
I love Dire Straits.
Me too.
You guys like that band?
Good band.
Yeah.
But first, let's roll back the clock and get a quick hit of Porsche history so we have some context.
Porsche was founded in Stuttgart, Germany in 1931 by Austrian-born mechanical engineer / friend of Adolf Hitler, Ferdinand Porsche. After years of working for other companies such as Daimler-Benz, the doctor decided to strike out on his own. Despite being an extremely small operation with limited resources, Ferdinand and his firm quickly garnered a reputation as one of the most innovative automotive designers in the country within only a few years. Now, when Hitler came to power in the mid-30s, one of his priorities beyond fascist world domination was working out the kinks in the soon-to-be mass-produced Volkswagen, or the people's car. Ferdinand got a call from Adolf to help out, and voila. By 1935, Porsche had designed a version of the iconic Volkswagen Beetle.
And by design, he kind of copied it from a Jewish designer from a Czech company called Tatra.
Hitler was so impressed with Ferdinand's work that he personally saw to it that Porsche designed a Volkswagen Racer for the 1939 Auto Union Grand Prix. Along with a larger wheelbase and a more aerodynamic design, Porsche tinkered with the idea of expanding engine capacity by using different valves and cylinder heads. He also began to zero in on a revolutionary function called fuel injection. Ferdinand had whipped up 3 prototypes by early 1939, but then Germany made some, shall we say, aggressive military moves into Poland that same year, and as a result, the Auto Union Grand Prix was canceled, and further development of the Porsche race car was brought to a halt. Throughout World War II, Ferdinand remained in cahoots with Hitler. He wasn't involved in any combat, but he continued work on the consumer-focused Beetle and lent his know-how to the Führer for how to increase production of German military equipment. And because of this, Porsche was arrested and thrown in French prison for 22 months after the war.
Not a very long sentence.
No, not really, considering.
Well, as his father grinded out his prison sentence, Ferdinand's son, Dr. Ferdinand Ferry Porsche Jr., assumed control of the company and moved the firm back to Austria, where they initially stayed afloat as a general repair and service company. But by late 1946, they had regained their financial footing and were considering how to enter the auto market with their own design.
They should have called the Boxster the Porsche Jr.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Porsche Jr.
100%.
The Junior, new from Porsche. You don't really see Porsche commercials on TV, do you?
I don't have to. I also can't remember the last time I've watched TV.
Yeah.
Well, I love when we travel and have to stay in a hotel because then you get to catch up on what broadcast television is like, and it's dire.
Yeah, if you like, for anyone complaining about the number of ads in a YouTube video, watch cable.
Yeah,
watch Deadliest Catch Gold Rush Edition, where they're they have to like survive on their own and mine gold. With crabs.
Try and follow a narrative 45 seconds at a time with 9-minute breaks to watch Cialis commercials.
Anyway, don't see any Porsche commercials when watching that.
You've been in a Porsche commercial.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Is that why you brought it up?
Well, now that you mention it. No, I mean, we did the Porsche spot. That's right.
Yeah.
Ferry Porsche decided that if they were going to go pro, they would need to start small and appeal to a very specific demographic. People with money. Ferry researched demand for handmade high-performance machines and eventually convinced a group of Swiss investors to back his fledgling project. Based on the bones of a VW Bug, the Porsche 356-1 Roadster hit the streets of Austria in March of 1948 with an adjusted for inflation price of about 42 grand. More like 60 grand with markup today.
They're selling a 356 at $99,000 at this dealership in Ohio.
The 356 Roadster had a 1.1-liter four-cylinder VW rear engine that could speed the curvy little coupe to over 80 miles per hour.
This thing goes 0 to 80.
Praised for its fantastic handling and eye-catching design, the model was an immediate hit, and true to Ferry Jr.'s frugal vision, a small-scale production of 5 handmade cars per month was off and running by the end of the year. Is the 356 the car that James Dean drove?
I was going to bring it up. I don't think so. The 356 is the upside-down looking bathtub one.
Yeah.
I saw one of these in pretty bad shape
Yeah.
at a mechanic the other day.
Huh.
The fact that it was in bad shape, makes me think it might have been real. Because most of them that you see like on the crest or something are replicas.
Oh,
because they're
I didn't
just
know that.
insane expensive.
Yeah.
You know?
Based on their limited but notable success, Porsche signed a contract with German behemoth Volkswagen Werk at the end of 1948, which allowed the company to expand throughout Germany and Austria. Another sweet part of the deal was that Porsche moved their production facilities to a much larger factory back in Stuttgart, which gave them the ability to manufacture more cars at a faster clip. With an additional 35 horsepower and a few minor design changes, the first Porsche 356 rolled off the Stuttgart production line in 1950. In less than 2 years, the company celebrated their 1,000th car delivered and had a crew of 200 workers cranking on the assembly line. Again, Ferry Porsche Jr.'s disciplined business plan proved to be extremely successful as the company's reputation for exclusive, high-quality machines began to spread. It seems fitting that Ferdinand Sr. passed away that year, as he finally saw his vision from decades prior blossom into a successful reality. By 1952, Porsche Jr. needed a logo for the bare hoods of his car. Like his father, Ferry was a very hands-on executive and designed the badge himself. He combined emblems and colors from the coat of arms of both Stuttgart and its state, Württemberg, with the black horse of Stuttgart as its centerpiece.
I love horses. I'm going to put a horse in the hood.
The logo
Said a bunch of car guys.
Yeah.
It's like, choose something else.
Do you get it? It's like the modern day horse. No, we get it.
The first logo appeared on the steering wheel hub of a 1953 Porsche 356, and it's the same one you'll find on your rich uncle's Porsche today. The mid-1950s saw a boom in Porsche publicity. From 1954 to 56, their cars won over 400 international races. In 2 years? That's crazy. And the 356 continued to sell extremely well. Another notable Porsche model of the time, one that would skyrocket to infamy, was the 550 Spider.
This is the James Dean one.
Yes, the ridiculously light, race car-inspired coupe was the one 24-year-old James Dean was driving when he died, a car that he called Little Bastard in September of 1955 outside of Paso Robles, California. Despite Dean's tragic demise, his car actually boosted Porsche's popularity. In March of 56, the company celebrated their 10,000th car to leave the production line, and through the late 50s, nearly 70% of their sales came from abroad. Now, just looking at the Porsche 550, this doesn't really look like a car that, like, I'm imagining myself at 24 driving a car like this. I'd probably end up the same way. This thing
You've
looks
always
fast.
been kind of responsible, though.
I know, but
Not on track. I mean, yeah, on track.
on track,
Nolan spun out the other day.
I did.
Oh.
I did.
Yeah.
It was fun.
He handled it a lot better than I did last time.
Yeah.
Drove the car home.
This thing's
To
sweet, man.
find out what we're talking about, check out our YouTube series High Low, where we took 2 Subaru WRXs, built them into track cars, and I may have totaled one.
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. When you're working on cars, you have the benefit of having a repair manual, but unfortunately, life does not come with a repair manual. So when it's not working for you, it's normal to feel stuck. I feel stuck all the time. That's why therapy is so important. And BetterHelp is one of the best ways to get into therapy for someone new to it. As the world's largest therapy service, BetterHelp has matched 3 million people with professionally licensed and vetted therapists available 100% online. Plus, it's affordable. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to match you with a therapist. If things are not clicking, you don't vibe with your therapist, you can easily switch to a new one at any time. And it couldn't be simpler. There's no waiting rooms, no traffic, no endless searching for the right therapist. Personally, I think BetterHelp is one of the best ways to get into therapy if you're new to it. It's so easy, it's affordable, and you don't have to wait in a waiting room or anything. It's great. Learn more and save 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/passgas. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/passgas.
Big thank you to our sponsor this week, Valvoline Motor Oil. Did you know that Valvoline provides 24 times stronger protection against engine-killing water contamination than the leading synthetic brand? That's right. You might be asking, how does water get in my engine, Nolan? Well, when gasoline burns, it produces water or condensation as a byproduct of combustion. Most gasoline contains up to 15% ethanol, which further increases the amount of water produced. Newer engine technologies like start-stop and shorter trips can make it even harder for your engine to heat up enough to burn that water off. Oh, and by the way, water, it's a terrible lubricant and it needs to be properly controlled to maximize engine life. I use Valvoline in my car. I run Valvoline high mileage in the Mustang, and we just changed the oil in my girlfriend's car and we put that same stuff in hers. So now we're totally covered and we feel great about our engines. These things are running smooth as can be thanks to Valvoline. So get yourself some Valvoline in your car today. You will not regret it. These guys have been around a long time and they're going to treat you right. Valvoline Motor Oil. Buy some. Porsche knew that with their rising profile, they had to keep their product as reliable as possible. In 1960, the company expanded to more than 1,250 factory and office employees, with nearly 20% of the workforce assigned to quality control. Their combination of performance and reliability led to a company record profit of $108 million in 1960, equivalent to a little over $1 billion today.
Damn.
Wow. Good Lord, son.
1 billion.
Billion.
That's like Dr. Evil money.
I know, that's that Dr. Evil. Dude, that's a good line.
Dr. Evil money.
Yeah, I got that Dr. Evil money. The 356 was a bona fide hit, but because it was still similar in design to the Volkswagen Beetle, Ferry Porsche and his team decided it was time for an entirely new model. In 1964, they released a rear-engine, two-seat sports car with a more elegant look and an air-cooled, flat rear engine. They called it the Porsche 911.
We talked about this before, but it was the 901, but Peugeot sued because they had exclusive rights to have a 0 in the middle of the numbers in all European cars.
The introduction of the 911 coincided with the last 356 leaving the factory in 1965. After almost 20 years of increasing sales and a total of 76,302 units produced, the 356 series had more than pulled its weight in terms of raising Porsche's reputation as well as their bottom line. And as we all know, over the next several years, the 911 became an icon. Culminating in 1971, Porsche revenues reached $900 million. Ferry Porsche Jr. and his sister expanded the board, who remains nameless apparently in this script. Ferry and his sister. Ferry Porsche Jr. and his sister expanded the board of directors, and in 1973, the firm went public under the name Porsche AG, which, of course, stands for Porsche Auto Group. But while all this corporate growth and Wall Street talk may sound hoity-toity, the same year, sales of the 911 were their lowest ever. That fact, along with the 1973 oil crisis wreaking havoc on the auto industry, Porsche knew they had to make a dramatic move.
So they signed up to be in a play.
Gnarly as the oil crisis was for automakers and consumers alike, the disaster actually made Porsche push forward on a project that was inspired by Ralph Nader's precious book. You see, when Porsche freaked out over the possibility of rear-engine automobiles being outlawed in the mid-late 60s, they immediately went to work on their first front-engine model. Enter the Porsche 924. When Johnny Cash penned his song One Piece at a Time, he might as well have been talking about the 924. This Frankenstein of a speedster took the four-cylinder engine from an Audi 100 sedan, a Volkswagen Rabbit's McPherson struts, and the rear suspension that was very similar to the Volkswagen Super Beetle. And that's because the 924 was originally intended to be Volkswagen's flagship sports car, codenamed VW Project 425. But due to the oil crisis and a change of directors at Volkswagen in the early 70s, they shut down the 425 project and moved forward with the Volkswagen Scirocco instead.
Nice.
I think I'd like to have a Scirocco someday.
I'd like another one potentially at some point.
I want a Scirocco and a Mark III Cabrio, like the one that we ruined outside.
Damn, dude, you're turning it into me.
It's not ruined. Why?
No, it's nice now. We
Does
took
it
the
run?
supercharger off. Yeah, it runs.
It runs.
It's got a cool new steering wheel.
Got like 60 horsepower.
Yeah, we should polish it up and go cruise.
It's good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Cabrio runs, the Golf runs, all of our Mark IIIs are good to go.
Let's go
G2G,
cruise.
bro. Let's
Even
cruise,
the
dude.
E36 runs too, but the cooling is little.
Dude, I think I might come here on the weekend and get the Cabrio.
Yeah.
Like,
And where are you going to take it?
I don't know.
To the beach? Newport Beach?
I mean, well, it's going to be cold, I think.
you should go to a drive-in.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
With your honey.
Yeah. Okay. Despite losing Volkswagen's enthusiasm, Porsche bought the Project 425 design from VW and continued to develop the new model. With hidden headlights, a sloping bonnet line, and a grille-less nose, the first 924s hit U.S. dealerships in July of 1976 with a sweet mid-level price of $9,395 bones, which checks out to about $47,000 today.
Porsche thought that the 911 was as good as it was going to get after like 12 years of production.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were developing these cars with the intention of
Replacing.
sunsetting the 911.
Wow.
Which is insane to think 40 years later it still doesn't seem like it's reached its
well,
full
the
potential.
928 specifically was going to replace the 911.
I mean, they were like trying to fit every, price point,
Mm-hmm.
but the fact that they thought that the 911 was as good as it was going to get
Yeah.
is crazy.
Had they even seen a new one? They're crazy good now.
Yeah.
The 924 was praised for its fuel efficiency, design, and reliability, but it was harshly criticized for its underwhelming power. Well, you can't have fuel efficiency and power. Well, at that time.
Not back then.
Back then you couldn't do it.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Expectations were extremely high due to the 911's amazing performance. But because of that little Audi engine, the 924 was only capable of a shade over 100 horsepower. And acceleration, well, it was far from what critics anticipated, okay?
Great read on it.
Yeah, dude, that was tight.
However, in a resounding response to the whiners, the haters, they're my motivators, Porsche introduced the 924 Turbo in 1978, which received stellar reviews. Car and Driver magazine even explained, "Fast at last." The 924 became one of Porsche's best-selling models to date, and because it was relatively cheap to manufacture, the car was both profitable and easy to finance. The 924 was vital in helping Porsche off the brink of financial ruin in the 1970s, and the cash it generated allowed the company to continue development on the 911, their race cars, and even more consumer models.
Riding high on the momentum of the successful sales run of both 924 models, Porsche decided to up the ante by entering an upgraded version of the 924, the Carrera GT Turbo, into the 1980 24 Hours at Le Mans, the coolest race on the planet. It was a stellar premiere. Drivers Jürgen Barth and Manfred Schurte claimed a 6th place overall finish, with the other two Carrera teams finishing in the top 15. Porsche's success at Le Mans further bolstered the 924's reputation as an authentic racing car for the masses and set the tone for a fantastic decade. In 1981, revenues reached $1.5 billion, with the United States making up nearly 40% of Porsche's sales. In 1983, U.S. customers saw the 924 replaced with the brand spanking new Porsche 944. Much to the delight of race fans, the 944 took styling cues from the Carrera and featured an inline 4-cylinder engine that produced an impressive 150 horsepower. Keep in mind that most V8s at the time weren't even capable of 200 horses. The 944 was also a better handler, and unlike the noticeable shimmy of the 924's engine, the 944s were tight as a drum, thanks to upgrades in counterbalancing.
These things look so sick
They're
in
so
red with
fucking-
black wheels.
Mm-hmm.
Sheesh.
Sheesh.
Correct me if I'm mistaken, but is this what Mazda copied for the first gen RX-7?
I don't know if they copied it. The first gen RX-7 looks a lot like a 924.
Oh, okay.
And then the second gen looks like a lot like a 944.
Okay.
So I don't know who was looking at whose homework, but those cars look pretty similar.
Yeah.
During the mid to late 80s, the 944 Turbo, Turbo S, and S2 proved to be on par with far more expensive imports like Ferrari and Maserati, the Mario and Luigi of cars, which only led to higher profits for the company.
Wait, is Lamborghini Wario then?
Yeah.
Because he's yellow?
He's gonna win.
Yeah.
The S2 is considered by many Porsche stands to be the primo version of the 944 because it handles so well and doesn't take on additional wear from a turbocharger. It was also the only 944 model with a convertible option and included the rarely seen integrated front bumper. But all of Porsche's fun and games screeched to a halt when the 1990s came around. After selling over 30,000 cars in the US in 1986, sales had dwindled to only 4,400 by 1991. A year later, Porsche's worldwide sales sank to barely 23,000 units, the lowest annual growth rate in over a decade.
Man, I sell more units than that.
You sell a lot of units, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some blamed the economy, but others pointed to ever-increasing Porsche prices. The 911, for example, cost more in 1991 than it did in 2019 after adjusting for inflation.
Wow.
But the 1990s also brought competition from rival manufacturers like Mazda and Jaguar, and a steady turnover of top Porsche management only made the situation worse. I'm sure that these low sales numbers contribute to the fact that Porsches in the 90s, like the last air-cooled ones, are so expensive and hard to find now.
Totally, because,
Fortunately, Porsche was able to hire an engineer and manufacturing expert named Wendelin Wiedeking as CEO in 1992. Wiedeking immediately reduced costs by restructuring the workforce and also brought in a team of Japanese consultants to help streamline manufacturing. Wiedeking prioritized an updated version of the 911 and, more importantly, pushed for a new mid-engine car with a completely original design. In an attempt to win back consumers in the U.S., he insisted that the soon-to-be-named Boxster would be priced at less than $40,000.
I think I remember reading about this guy, and they had him come to the factory at first, and the way that they were assembling Porsches was so archaic, where it was like they didn't have a conveyor belt or anything. The engineer would like go over to a shelf, look for the part, take it out, and just like install it. And he's like, you guys should just have like
what if you only did that?
Yeah.
And then he does the next thing. And then she does the next thing.
Yeah.
The plan worked. The Boxster entered production in 1996 and was an instant success. Its first year fleet sold out in advance. The Boxster was a savior for Porsche. After 3 years in the red, the company broke even in 1995 and finally turned a profit in 96. 2 years later, at the age of 88, and just before his company celebrated its golden anniversary, Dr. Ferry Porsche Jr. passed away. Fortunately, he could rest in peace knowing that Porsche was back in the black. Sales in the U.S. had climbed to over 18,000 units and well beyond 38,000 worldwide. Boxsters continued to be a massive hit, and in 1999, Porsche introduced a 3.2-liter, 252-horsepower version, which was also well received.
That sounds like a little zipper.
Yeah, a little zipper, Porsche Jr. They actually had a special run of 20 cars that had his bones in it.
Gross. Like not even like in the paint or anything, just like in the trunk.
Yeah, loose.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, God. That same year, Porsche announced a collaboration with Volkswagen to build an SUV, something that would change the luxury automotive game entirely, just in time for the dawn of the new millennium.
Oh, hell yeah. Everyone's got frosted tips.
Yeah.
We're wearing puka shell necklaces.
Bye.
Yeah.
Wearing long sleeve shirts under short sleeve shirts.
Everyone's wiping the sweat from their brow from the Y2K scare.
I'm going to watch Gravity Games drinking a Sobe energy drink.
Oh, hey, guys, what's up? I missed what we were talking about because I was out soap shoeing.
Sorry, I got to leave the arcade, guys. Next is on.
911 is only a Porsche to me.
Big thank you to Philo for sponsoring this podcast. If you love TV, Philo is your solution. Philo is live and on-demand TV for just $25 a month. Philo has VH1, BET, A&E, AMC, plus more than 60 other channels like Comedy Central, Nickelodeon, Paramount, and Discovery. With every freaking streaming service out there, it can be hard to pick and choose the ones you want and get the stuff you want at the same time. I mean, it feels like I'm paying for cable with all the streaming channels I'm signed up for. I think I'm going to give Philo a shot. There's no contracts, no commitments, no hassles. It's just a better way to watch TV. Philo also has unlimited DVR for 1 year, so you can save all your favorite shows, so you watch them on your own schedule. Philo also allows for multiple profiles and multiple streams, so everyone in the house can have their own saved shows and up to 3 simultaneous streams. It's super easy to use, super easy to sign up. Sign up today at philo.tv. That's philo.tv and use promo code GAS to get 50% off your first month. Thank you very much, Philo. In the model year 2003, Porsche shocked the auto world with their release of the Cayenne SUV. The base model used a Volkswagen-derived 3.2-liter V6. That's
the VR6.
VR6. A first for any production Porsche, with Motor Trend calling it an outstanding piece of work and the best handling, most powerful SUV on the planet.
On the planet.
Consumers raved about the performance of the Cayenne, especially the turbocharged V8 version, and how it could hold its own against a host of peer sports cars. On the heels of this, I mean, this thing was awesome. Like, you could take the same car, go off, you could drive through the canyons to a trail, and do some off-roading, and then drive through the canyons back.
They're super capable off-road now that they're, they've been around for long enough that you can get them for pretty cheap.
Mm-hmm.
There's companies like Eurowise in North Carolina who actually built my Golf, making some pretty cool off-road stuff, and you can build a really cool off-road rig out of a Cayenne.
Do you know why they chose to name it the Cayenne?
Because it was spicy.
Favorite spice, yeah.
Yeah, because when you drive it, it absolutely blows your ass out.
On the heels of the Cayenne's massive success, Porsche released their first high-performance sedan in 2009, the Panamera. Some critics were perplexed by its styling. I'll say the first gen is a little ugly, but the Panamera's handling and performance were generally celebrated, and the model initially sold well. However, 2009 was also the year that Porsche once again found itself in serious financial trouble. Lucky for them, Volkswagen loaned them just shy of $1 billion, which helped Porsche get more Panameras on the road. And while the model didn't sell as well as the Cayenne, mainly because it came at a higher price tag, the Panamera's additional sales helped pay down the company's significant debt. But VW had their clutches in Porsche, and by 2012, the automotive giant bought Porsche outright. There's a Panamera that has twin turbocharged V8 and also a hybrid system, and it's all-wheel drive.
Whoa.
And it's...
That sounds cheap to maintain.
Yeah. And it's also it has a wagon. It's like a wagon version.
Yeah. I have never heard of this.
It's so sick, dude. Our buddies up north, the Straight Pipes, they tested it on their channel a few years ago, and they said it's like one of the hardest accelerating cars they'd ever tested.
Yeah.
So cool.
4SE hybrid? Could that be it?
Maybe, but I don't know.
Sport Turismo.
Sport Turismo.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, it's awesome. Would love one. What I like about the last Panameras that they made him look a little bit more like the Taycan, styling wise, and
great looking car.
Yeah.
Oh, what is it? Is it a wagon? I don't know. It's sick. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's daddy.
The buyout was ultimately a great move for both companies. Porsche gained access to other VW Group platforms like Audi and Bentley, which helped them in crafting future models. Case in point, the Porsche Macan, the compact SUV. Not that compact, really.
It's small.
It's small, but come on.
Max really wants a Macan.
They're cool. It came with a 4-cylinder engine, and it sat on the Audi Q5 chassis, but could still romp like a real Porsche thanks to its staggered wheelbase and a Porsche-designed engine in the V6 models, at least. The base model Macan is one of the most affordable, best-selling Porsches today, and in the tradition of the Cayenne and the Panamera, its popularity with consumers has helped fuel further development of the 911 and Porsche's other racing cars.
their business model kind of paralleled like Facebook, where it's like super exclusive in the beginning, and people were like, "What's that car? I wish I could afford that car." And then they started opening it up to more affordable models and stuff, and people are just scooping them up.
It's also like our business model. Like we make a lot of list shows and podcasts and wish.com product tests, and that stuff all fuels stuff like high-low,
Yes.
and Money Pit, and the more expensive build shows that we do.
Yes. Anyway, another notable takeaway from the VW merger is that Porsche has directly influenced other brands as well. The second generation Panamera included the MSB platform, which is the basis for the Bentley Continental GT, and a Porsche-developed twin-turbo V8 is used in a number of Audis and Bentleys. So there you go.
So there you go. The late 2010s saw Porsche heavily invest in the future by the way of its first purely EV technology, the Mission E. Partially financed by the wildly successful Macan and Cayenne, the four-door version of this concept, which eventually became the phenomenal Taycan EV, delivers over 600 horsepower and a range of more than 300 miles. It can accelerate from 0 to 60 in less than 3.5 seconds. It only takes 15 minutes to charge 80% of the battery. I had a Taycan for a while, and it is my favorite car ever.
It's so good.
It's the coolest car I've ever driven, and I've never driven a car and felt that cool.
It's the best. I love it.
Like, it's like you just shit on Tesla drivers.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like dual motor.
I'm like, cool.
How about you take these dual L's, dude?
Oh, you know, it'd be a power move. It'd be a power move to get a license plate that said like LOL Tesla.
No.
Take on.
I don't think that's cool.
No.
I think you realized it when you said it out loud. You were like, oh no.
Oh no, I can't just stop now.
Porsche had invested over $1 billion into EV development and added 1,200 more employees to their Stuttgart workforce to increase EV manufacturing. The company has also gained a ton of knowledge from its 919 hybrid prototype race car program, and combined with the Taycan success, this avalanche of progress will certainly affect other Porsche models down the line, as well as other Volkswagen Auto Group marques.
Porsche is a legendary car company, but it's ironic that the principles Ferry Porsche Jr. launched the company with, those being exclusivity and high performance, have worked as such a double-edged sword over the years. Sure, they've made incredible machines like the 911, but they were stubborn to change their strategy until they had their financial backs against the wall. Obviously, it all worked out. Quote,
"Without our tradition and without our core values,
Wait, this guy's German.
we would not be where we are today." That was Porsche CEO Oliver Bloom.
born in Brunswick, Germany.
Yeah. That's what he said at the company's 70th anniversary celebration in Stuttgart. He goes on to say, "We plan to uphold the standard of technical excellence set by Ferry Porsche well into the future. And we have what it takes to ensure that the Porsche brand continues to fascinate."
I apologize for my speech impediment.
Y'all get yourself something nice to eat, enjoy the party, and I'll catch you later.
Well, that's the story of Porsche.
Yeah. By far one of the coolest car companies. Like, it's like a
Absolutely, yeah.
duh. It's like Porsches are cool.
Yeah, yeah, love them. All right, well, we got some fan mail today. This one,
This is hate mail.
yeah. Well, this one.
Did you see it? I started an Instagram.
Yeah, it's really taken off. It's up to
Yeah.
44 followers.
Well, okay, well, we're going to get into this one. This is some fan mail for Joe. Hello, Donut Guys. I'm from Minnesota, and I just wanted to call Joe out on the error he made on the episode from September 26th. Wisconsin does have more, quote, lakes, in quotations, than Minnesota, but that's because of the definition they have for what a lake is. Here is my research. Okay, so there's some screenshots here. So Minnesota classifies a lake as a body of water 10 acres or more, okay, and they have 6,176. Wisconsin, they classify a lake, Joe, as 2 acres or more, which is a much smaller body of water.
Way smaller.
When have you ever looked out at a 2.2 acre body of water and said, whoa, that's a nice pond.
Said
That's
like
a lake.
Said like a true
It's a lake.
Wisconsinite. That's not a lake. That's a freaking bathtub.
I
Maybe go to
stand
Minnesota if you want to see some lakes.
I stand my ground. If you want to go to Nye's Accordion Bar, go to Minnesota. It's a good bar. If you want to drink past 9 p.m., go to Wisconsin because of Minnesota's dumb blue laws.
If you are a Minnesotan and you hate Joe, you can join the movement on Instagram at Minnesota Hates Joe Weber. That's JoeWebber.
There's a reason that all Eastern Minnesotans drive to Wisconsin.
I mean, look, it's clear that Wisconsin is fudging the lake numbers a little bit.
A little bit.
That's not fudging.
But that's not what's important here. We need to have Wisconsin-Minnesota unity, I think.
No way.
No, never.
Never?
No.
Are you guys bitter rivals?
Yes.
It's Prince versus...
Yeah.
Who's the guy from the Lighthouse?
Dude, you're from Wisconsin and you brought up Prince?
Violent Femmes versus Prince.
Oh, yeah. Well, Prince is better, but Violent Femmes aren't bad.
So
It's Willem Dafoe versus Prince.
Wow.
Well, I mean, that's a matchup right
like,
there.
that is a fun night.
That is yeah.
Love to hang out with Willem Dafoe and Prince.
Man. Okay. Well, conclusion, Wisconsin sucks and Minnesota is superior, so
Lake Superior.
That also stretches to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So
That's where the first blood will be shed.
have a great day, Jacob Stoll. Well, if you'd like to send us more mail, hit us up at passgaspodcast@donutmedia.com.
All I'm saying is I've gotten more supportive DMs from Wisconsinites than I see followers on that Instagram page.
It's because you're from there. More Americans tell me they like me than people from ISIS.
That's a good point to end on.
All right, if you want to send us some mail, hit us up at passgas@donutmedia.com. We'd love to hear from you, especially if you include your own research. And sorry, Wisconsin has 6,176 lakes, 10 acres or larger. Just want to clear that up. Thank you very much for listening to the show. New listener, returning listener, or otherwise, thank you so much for all your support over the years. It really means a lot.
Go play the Doza.
Doza. Donut Forza. Doza.
Yeah, Doza. Go play the Donut Media Forza 5 Horizons DLC.
That is hard to
stories.
say. It's a free update. It's a free update.
Yeah, where you can play alongside Nolan and I.
Follow the boys at Joji Weber. Follow James at James Weber. Follow me at Nolan J. Sykes. Subscribe to the Donut channel if you haven't already. And big thank you to our producers this week, Christina Felsky, Gavin Kinzel, and our writer, Luke Klompien. Have a great day. See you later.
Bye-bye.